prendre la route de l'aventure. Amen, c'est le président. Un pauvre qui vote pour celui qui l'a rendu pauvre. Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'étranger? Amen, c'est le président. À l'Assemblée, il y a un vieux. Vraiment. Au Sénat, il y a un vieux. Wonderful. À la présidence, il y a un vieillard. Dans tout le gouvernement, il n'y a que des vieux. Des vieux, des vieux. Des jeunes prennent le chemin de la Libye pour devenir des esclaves. Des jeunes prennent la route du désert pour entrer en Europe. À l'Assemblée, il y a un vieux. Sonia Touko. Au Sénat, il y a un vieux. À la présidence, il y a un vieillard. Dans tout le gouvernement, il n'y a que des vieux, des vieux, des vieux.
Hi. Good day, the beautiful people of the Cameroons, the beautiful people of British Cameroon, and the beautiful people of La République du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, a country is not defined by historians. A country is defined by legal experts, lawyers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a party political broadcast by myself, Maître Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Today, on this party political broadcast, I would like to talk about something that a lot of people keep on trying to distort facts. And it's about a country. I want to make it clear. A country is not defined by historians. No. It's defined by legal experts, lawyers, or constitutional lawyers. A historian is simply a person who studies and writes the past. A historian studies history and write about the past. So you cannot call a historian to come and be telling you the definition of a country. That's my field. It's up to us, lawyers, to tell you what is a country. The history of the Cameroons has been distorted by some egocentric academic psychopaths. It disturbs me. Ladies and gentlemen, you can talk politics. You can express your opinion. But when it comes to history, it's about facts. You don't bend it. You don't twist it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this word, a country, is very important, and I will keep on repeating it. British Cameroon was a country on its own. La République du Cameroon was a country on its own. You don't need to be independent to be a country. All you need is a political authority, which is like a prime minister or head of state, a house of chiefs, a national assembly. That's a political authority. Then you need a population and a territory. That is the definition of a country. But today you hear people, they come and say, oh, German Cameroon. In those days, that it was British Cameroon or French Cameroon. No, it was not a country, ladies and gentlemen. I see people who have gone to school, they come and lie on social media, lied on national TV. Liars. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something that's very important about this confusion that they are creating in the Cameroons. People say there was a German Cameroon, which was a country. It was not a country. Under the British and French, it was not a country. In 1520, we had that name they call Cameroon today. It was a Portuguese sugar plantation. I said 1520. The Portuguese went there and they created, the first time they ever called that some area there that Cameroon, it was a Portuguese sugar plantation. In 1600, the Dutch, they took over that slave plantation called Rio dos Campos, Cameroon. To be honest, it's a shame that we are still even bearing that name, a slave plantation. The reason being, they don't want to identify that two Cameroons came together. So they have to maintain that slave name, Rio dos Campos, named by slave masters. We are going to change it. British Cameroon National Party will change that name when we are in power. In 1884, it became a German colony. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing changed. It was still that slave plantation under the Germans. Some people will say the German came, they signed treaties. My brothers and sisters, if a foreigner comes to your house and signs treaty with you to do something in your house, how come that they were the one governing you? So that is fake history. They use force. They torture Bakore people and other tribes. So forget that thing that they say they sign treaty. If you come and sign treaty that you want to stay in my house, how can you become my master? It's impossible. It was still the sugar plantation. That is why they were torturing people. You know, the Germans, they were flocking people when they were there. I cannot invite you to come to my place and trade with me. Then you became my masters. Those are fake history. It was still a sugar plantation under the Germans. During the First World War, the Germans were defeated. They were defeated. And what happened? In 1919, the London Declaration, Britain and France took over. They keep on changing the name. Colonial power. It was not a country. It was ethnicities in Africa. Colonialism is a crime against humanity. Nobody gave them a right to come to that space in Africa and did what they did. It's a crime against humanity. The League of Nations or whoever, they were criminals. No, they had no right to do what they did in Africa. So I'm still telling you, it was never a country. Some people talk about reunification of the Cameroons. Let me tell you something. Who was the president of that Cameroon? If that Portuguese sugar plantation in 1520, which Cameroons from indigenous person there was that president? In 1600, when the Dutch, they took over, who was that president there? A country have a political authority, you know. Who was the political authority? In 1884, when the Germans, they came there, who was that political authority in the country? They say Cameroon is an individual. Who was that president? In 1919, when the British and France, they took over the slave plantation, because they keep on telling you, they changed the name colonialism, you entrust territory. It was still that slave plantation. That's why they came to Africa rather to exploit us. People who cannot govern themselves. When we have Kuvali, Kenya, we have the Fawn of Bali. We had people who were governing that territory, but they say people who were not governing themselves. That's how when criminals, thieves, they came there in the name of colonial masters. They love us so much, so they have to come to colonize us, to make us civilized. But today we see people, they are dying in the Mediterranean. They don't love them. They don't want them to come to this country. Donald Trump, he said people should leave their country. So if these people love us so much under the League of Nations, under United Nations, so how come? How come that people are dying now? They don't love these people in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, the people who colonized us, they were scammers. And it was not a country. Let me tell you something. This is very important. If you say Germany was partitioned, it was a country. The people who were ruling Germany, I can tell you, they had a chancellor who was Otto von Bismarck. All of you know that man. Germany, previously, they used to call Germany Prussia. That was their name. They had a king, King William I. But they keep on telling us that the Cameroons was one, but they cannot tell us from 1520 who was that president of the Cameroons. They cannot tell us in 1600 who was that president of the Cameroons. They cannot tell us in 1884 who was that president of the Cameroons. They cannot tell us in 1919 who was that president of the Cameroons. But let me tell you something. I can tell you who was the prime minister of British Cameroon when it became a country. In 1957, Dr. Endele was the prime minister of British Southern Cameroon. He comes from there. That was the first political authority. Then we had parliament, House of Chiefs. That's when we became a country. Please, don't confuse independence with a country, because they always confuse that. La République du Cameroun, when it became a country, is when Amadou Ahidjo became prime minister. In 1957, La République du Cameroun became a country. Please, once more, don't mistake independence with a country. The Cameroons have never, ever been one, except when the people of British Southern Cameroon voluntarily voted to join La République du Cameroun with no treaty, which means legally it's not a legally binding union. Legally speaking, that union is not legally binding. Scotland and England, they came together 300 years ago. They have what they call the Act of Union. They accepted. It's still there. You can go and read it. You can type the House of Commons in London. You see it. It is there. Act of Union. A constitution cannot bind you with another person. A constitution, these are rules and principles to govern a country. So there is nothing that binds La République du Cameroun with British Southern Cameroon. There is nothing. It's an illegal union. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a law student, you will ask your lecturer what I'm saying. The union between La République and British Cameroon is illegal. It's not legitimate. Even the union between Scotland and England, although they have a union treaty, it doesn't mean if Scotland doesn't want to leave, they cannot leave. That's why they have Scottish National Party, the Green Party in Scotland. They want to leave. And what do? We do it democratically. You do politics. You cannot, if La République du Cameroun, their political parties, they say Cameroon is one and indivisible. It is their right. They have a right to say it. It's their political opinion. If somebody says, I want to leave the union, it is your right. Article 65 of the Constitution of La République du Cameroun, it talks about the right of self-determination. But we could not blame them. They torture people. They don't follow their constitution. Their constitution says you cannot torture people. Their constitution says you are not corrupt. You should not steal money. You should not embezzle public funds. But they do embezzle it. So nobody can tell you that you don't have a right to say you want to be independent. Independent is your democratic right. That's why Maître Mola Alex de Verlisinga, I don't believe in war. I don't believe in violence. I condemn it. If people were following my lead, we do politics. We focus on taking the seats in Northwest and Southwest region. La République du Cameroon will speak with us. They will. Most of you see countries like Ireland, Scotland, what? Some people, or Northern Ireland, they use tribe violence. It did not work. May I use this occasion to remember some patriotic Irish people, because today is 24th of April. They call it Easter Rising. Read it, it's very interesting. You can Google it. In 1916, some Irish people, then Irish, they were under United Kingdom. I'm talking about Republic of Ireland. And they wanted their independence. So they had what they call the rebel. They call Easter Rising, which was on Easter. Today is that day, 24th. It marks that day. They call it Easter Rising. They were powerful people. They challenged the British government, fought them hard. But what happened? They were captured. And most of their leaders, they were shot in a firing squad. This is what I want to know, those who are using arms in the Cameroons. The people in the now Irish Republic, what did they do? They say, okay, we don't have power to fight the government of United Kingdom. We have elections. So let's create a party called Sinn Féin. They created a political party. After they killed their leaders, the sentiment, all the Irish people, it was a reign of terror. They say, okay, when they stood for election, they created that party. A party that they want independence. They stood for election. Guess what? They had 70-something%. Absolute majority was about 103 seats. They had absolute majority. That's when the British government started talking to them. The British government said, okay, we'll give you home rule. Home rule means they will be ruling themselves, but they are still under the United Kingdom. Some of them, they accepted, they have their government, everything. Other group, they refused, they were still fighting. And the first, you see, the Prime Minister who was under that home rule, Michael Collins, unfortunately, he was killed by the other people who were anti-treaty. That's what they call it. So you see, they realized violence cannot work. Let's use politics. And today, they are free. Northern Ireland have been fighting for decades upon decades. It's still part of the country, Northern Ireland. It's still part. They want to join Republic of Ireland to be an Irish country. They have been fighting until today, decades. They almost killed former Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. They put a bomb in a hotel where she was having a party conference there. They put a bomb there. It missed Margaret Thatcher. The good thing is, they were not kidnapping for ransom. They were not killing civilians. They were targeting the British government. So upon decades, you cannot fight the British people. Americans, they were supporting Northern Ireland. Gaddafi was supporting Northern Ireland, giving them guns or what, other people. But they are still, today as I speak, they are still in the UK. So they realize we have to start doing politics. So they have the same political party they have in Republic of Ireland, they have it in Northern Ireland, Sinn Féin. For the first time in the history of Northern Ireland, that political party that want to join Republic of Ireland, they are the one now. Is it last year? They won majority of the seat in Northern Ireland. Now they are thinking, based on opinion poll, they will call for a referendum to join Republic of Ireland. And one day they will go. Scotland, that legally joined England, they had a referendum in 2014. Unfortunately, majority said they want to stay. That is democratic right. So instead of you using guns, because at the end of the day, I don't see how those guns, they are more dangerous to the civilian than even the government in Yaoundé. You can't go to Yaoundé. You're killing your own people. You kill one policeman, do you think Mr. Biya cares? Even if you kill the governor, Mr. Biya doesn't care. Mr. Biya is in Yaoundé. Mr. Biya told you guys when we were in Cameroon, If Yaoundé is breathing, everything is okay. It tells you, it means it doesn't matter what is happening wherever in the other parts of the Cameroon. What matters to Mr. Biya is A2D. That's it. So we should learn from these things. I'm not criticizing any person. We should stop wasting our time and giving bandits, criminals all over killing our people. The people who are saying they are fighting general what do they do? Kidnapping for ransom. They have a lot of money. Where does it come? Those are thieves who have transformed themselves to criminals. We know rebels. Look at the M23 in those who were fighting in Zaire, Congo. They were fighting. They captured Goma, one of the largest cities in Democratic Republic of Congo. That's how they fight. Then they were heading now to Kinshasa to go and overthrow the government. What happened? Recently, the government of Democratic Republic of Congo called them and they had a negotiation in Qatar. Why? Because they had that firepower to go to Kinshasa. We don't have that firepower even to go to Kombu. Some people think that it will be a failure. My brothers and sisters, the truth is, the longer this war goes, as some call it war, we are the losers. We Anglophones. But if we start working hard to take the seat in British Cameroon, Northwest and Southwest, we give ourselves 10 years, 20 years is enough. Scottish National Party was created in 1934. It took them, is it 2000 and something, to have majority seat in Scotland. 1934. ANC was created in 1912. They were not fighting to separate South Africa. But they came to power when? In 1994. Some of us will love quick fix. We have to set a target and look what is achievable. And it is small, small catchy monkey. We are not in power. The person in power calls the shot. You cannot tell somebody with a gun and with France behind him, oh, I'm going to fight you. If you start working hard to protect the parliamentary seat in Northwest and Southwest with people who have probity and integrity, ladies and gentlemen, I bet you in 10 years' time, we'll be more than halfway there. That's how we fight. I believe British Cameroon was a country, and I believe La République was a country. What we do is politics. It's not hatred. And we should be allowed to do politics in the Cameroons. All those, what you call decentralization, federal. Yes, CPDM, you're in power. But allow us to do politics. Let's stand for election. Let the people decide on what they want. And my brothers and sisters, you can only call for negotiation if you stand, you get the MPs. It means the people have given you mandate. That's how you do it. We have to learn the right way. We have to learn. If you want to be leader, lead. I don't have the power to stop people not from fighting, but to be honest, it's our people who are suffering. Look at Iraq, Syria, all those countries, Gaza. You can fight for 70 years and kill yourself. These people don't care. I speak from experience. If you think one day, one person in government will sit and worry that they have killed a gendarme or a kelebe, they don't care. They don't care. So ladies and gentlemen, follow my lead, follow my advice. Once more, this has been a party political broadcast by myself, Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Have a great day.